Welcome to the program. I'm your host, Neil Howard, here on Health Professional Radio. Thank you for joining us. Our guest is Dr. C.J. Barnum. He's Director of Neuroscience at INmune Bio, and he's joining us today to talk about a recent grant that was awarded from the Alzheimer's Association to start some clinical trials for a brand new Alzheimer's treatment. Welcome to the program, Dr. Barnum. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks for having me.
Now, as Director of Neuroscience for INmune Bio, a bit of background about yourself, and let's jump right into what INmune Bio is.
Yeah, so INmune Bio is a publicly traded company. Actually, we are the first biotech company of the year. We like to think of ourselves as the innate immune company. Our vision really is to become the leader in reprogramming the innate immune system to treat disease. We have three products in development right now that target cells of the innate immune system. We have an NK cell therapy that treats residual disease and cancer. We target the myeloid-derived suppressor cells that treat resistance to checkpoint therapy. And as you mentioned, we received a grant from the Alzheimer's Association to start targeting the microglial cell, which is the innate immune cell in the brain, to treat Alzheimer's disease. And all three of these programs right now are either in clinical development or will be treating patients within the next 2 months.
Now, you mentioned that you're dealing with cancer. You're a cancer biotech company. How is a cancer company treating Alzheimer's? Are they related somehow?
Yeah, so we actually get that question quite a bit. We like to think of it a little bit differently than how most people think of the disease. We're actually not treating cancer and Alzheimer's as is traditionally done. What we're doing is treating a common pathology that really cuts across many different diseases. And we actually believe, at least in a subset of patients with both cancer and Alzheimer's, that the disease is really innate immune dysregulation, and the symptoms of that disease is cancer and Alzheimer's.
Innate immune dysregulation? I've never heard of that. What exactly is that?
Yeah, so innate immune dysregulation is basically a different way of thinking about chronic inflammation. I think chronic inflammation is really the defining feature of innate immune dysregulation. It's the one that most people are familiar with. And what happens is that we don't think it actually characterizes the disease very well, because there are two parts. Chronic inflammation suggests that you get a specific part of the disease that drives disease, but it doesn't take into account the normal function of the immune system. And so you need to have both parts. And so if you think of it just as chronic inflammation, then you don't really capture the essence of what the disease really is.
So this inflammation based on this innate immune dysregulation, that causes Alzheimer's?
Yeah. So what innate immune dysregulation is? This chronic inflammation, this low-grade inflammatory state that over time really wreaks havoc in the patient. And what happens is this chronic inflammation really drives the progression of the disease. So we know that it attacks the neurons in a way that disrupts their ability to communicate. We know that it leads to cell death. And this happens very early. Some of the more recent data suggests that this occurs in your third or fourth decade of life. And in fact, the more inflammation you have, the greater your cognitive decline. One of the other interesting pieces to this is that chronic inflammation and inflammatory cytokines can produce plaques and tangles. We know that's the case. And those plaques and tangles actually feed back on the immune system to sort of perpetuate the response of chronic inflammation, more activity at the level of the neuron, where you get reduced communication between neurons, more cell death, and then more plaques and tangles.
There are anti-inflammatories all over the place. Is this drug, your development, even more of an anti-inflammatory? How is it different from everything else that's out there?
Yeah, so that's another great question. So the essence to treating Alzheimer's successfully, in our opinion, is that you have to stop chronic inflammation. That's going to be a part of it. And as you mentioned, virtually all the therapies out there actually do target chronic inflammation really well. But stopping chronic inflammation isn't really the only criterion for an effective anti-inflammatory. In fact, it's probably the one piece that's really missing. In order to do that, there's really two parts. First, you have to stop the chronic inflammation that's causing the disease. but you also must do it in a way that doesn't interfere with the support immune cells provide neurons. And so right now, the therapies actually stop chronic inflammation fairly well, but they also prevent the immune cells from supporting the neurons. And as a result, they strain an already taxed system, which could exacerbate disease or mask some of the benefits of driving down the inflammation. What our product does is it stops chronic inflammation in a manner that does not interfere with the supportive function of microglia that they provide to neurons. So it basically sends them back to take care of those cells. As a result, at least in the animal studies, the immune system can reestablish normal function, repair the connections that are remaining, and clear the toxic debris.
So is it basically tricking the immune system? Is that what's going on?
So I would say it a little bit differently. I wouldn't say it's tricking the immune system. What I would say is it's providing the bare minimum necessary signal to get the immune system to do what it knows how to do by itself. Okay.
So you say you're in animal trials now with this treatment. When do you anticipate human trials?
Yes, so we will, So we will be enrolling our first patient, I'm hoping, within the next month.
Right around the corner. So you're ready to go. You say the first patient. Do you anticipate several dozen, a few patients?
Yeah. So the first trial is really a proof of biology trial. Mm-hmm. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a small group of patients, 18 patients, and we're going to study them very intensively. The one thing that's been missing from Alzheimer's and actually neurologic disease quite broadly is the use of biomarkers. When you approach Alzheimer's disease as an inflammatory disease, you have a lot of biomarkers available. So what we can do is we can identify the patients that have immune dysregulation as part of their pathology, and we can study them intensively. And what we've done is we've actually created a whole suite of biomarkers to look at the extent to which we're able to drive down inflammation, mm-hmm. and then how that relates to the Alzheimer's pathology that is typically looked at and described.
Are you going to have a wide variety of patients that have other things going on, that have different problems or are absolutely healthy? Is that going to be part of the mix?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the answer to that is that we actually are less concerned about what stage of Alzheimer's the patient is in and the other comorbidities they may have. In fact, mm-hmm. we believe that the patients that have multiple comorbidities across a variety of different disease states are going to be the ones that are most likely to be dysregulated from an immune point of view. So what we're actually doing, the criterion that we really only have is, do they have measurable inflammation? And then if they do, we believe that those patients are going to be excellent candidates for our therapy.
Well, where can our listeners go online and get some more information about INmune Bio?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So they can go to our website at www.INmuneBio.com, and we have a whole bunch of information on the website that talks about all the different programs, including Alzheimer's.
Now, there's a very unique spelling of INmune Bio. It's not immune. It's INmune Bio. 2 words. Is that correct? Or one word in the URL?
Correct. Yes. And it stands for Innate Immune.
Thank you for coming in. A great interview. Lots of great information. Dr. C.J. Barnum, Director of Neuroscience at INmune Bio. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thanks, Neil. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.
Thank you for listening to Health Professional Radio. We're very proud to be an independent broadcaster providing our content free of charge to you, the listener. One of the ways that we're able to remain free and independent is by having people like you become patrons. You can support Health Professional Radio simply by visiting hpr.fm and clicking the button that says Become a Patron. Your patronage of even just $1 a month lets us know that you're there, which in turn makes us more valuable to advertisers. And, of course, if you're able to afford more, then we would certainly appreciate the support. My name is Toby Longhurst from Health Professional Radio. Please visit hpr.fm, click the Become a Patron button and support us if you can.